Well, friends, thank you for keeping your pinky promise to come back to your seats. I'm really excited to share some techniques with you right now that are the best answer to how. So I get asked the question of how quite a lot. People say, how do you do it? How do you have a good marriage and all the challenges that you two have? How do you stay smiling despite the 3 particular kids you're raising? How do you make time to run a successful business given those other things? How do you do it on the days when you're walking versus the day you're in your wheelchair? How? And the answer to how is I plan my life very intentionally, and it doesn't matter about my life. I am sharing those intentions and that system with you today in brevity so that you can plan your life with that much intentionality. My friends know that when you ask me, can I make plans? I might get back to you in 2 days because I need to check, does it have alignment? Does it meet the priorities? What do I have to say no to in order to say yes to this? And are those things I'm gonna say no to gonna be okay if I say no to them? So I'm very careful with my time, and that means I really love all of you because being here today meant not picking my son up from school in crisis. Being here today meant spending the day, and it was my absolute pleasure to do that and to be here right to the end because this is where I want to be right now. Who else wants to be right here right now? Awesome. So let's have a talk about how you can plan for yourself an incredible next year. I call this designing your best year ever. And I don't mean designing your Ferrari year, designing your $8 million year, designing your skinniest self you've ever been. I mean designing your best year ever because I want you to have a year where every night when you go to bed, you feel proud of you. I want you to have a year where you don't have a rolling to-do list, where you feel like you can win the day, win the week, and be just enough. I don't want you to strive for perfect this year and get to the end and feel like a failure again. I actually really want you to have your best year ever because you like the journey, you like yourself, you're proud of the accomplishments, and everything was enough. Perfect is not really possible. Enough is very doable. And what I mean when I say designing your best year ever is honoring all the parts of your life that would benefit from getting some goals. So by a show of hands, who does New Year's resolutions as like a family tradition or a friend tradition? Okay. Who always sets a money goal? Who always sets a health or body goal? And who sets anything else? That's why we're having this talk right now. And by the way, the little guy in the picture, his name is Bennett. Bennett is 6. He has a genetic chromosome disorder. And among the long list of side effects, the biggest one is uncontrollable rage and violence. And so when people say, how, Hailey? How are you and Jeremy still married? How are you still smiling given what you go through? I'll just give you a quick sneak peek in what we go through. This beautiful little boy right there goes from Bruce Banner to Hulk at least 5 or 10 times a day. Who knows who Hulk is? Who knows how much nicer Bruce Banner is? Yeah, it's like living with a very abusive husband, except he's 6, and we love him and we're keeping him and we're not asking him to leave. But if you can picture the intensity, if you know someone that's left domestic violence, if you yourself have ever been in that situation, to be surrounded by that much anger very often, it's really intense. So I promise you, how to keep a life of joy isn't a perfect life. But it's a life where in the moments that we can control, we do all that we can to squeeze all the goodness out. And we brace ourselves for those moments that will inevitably happen, that will be hard. And in my house, they're at least 5 or 10 times a day. And we fill our cup so that when we're asked to pour out from our cup, there's something in us to give. Do you know what I mean when I say there's something in you to give? Yeah. And so this year, I want you to do more of filling your cup because we didn't know when Bennett was going to become like Bennett. We didn't know we needed to batten down the hatches and overfill the cups and recharge all the batteries and get ready for the storm. We never know when those storms might arrive. So I really encourage you to make one of your number 1 goals this year, your mental health is job number 1. And keeping your cup full is tied with job number 1. So that whenever you get called on to do hard things, because we all will, that you'll be of the energy and of the capacity to do those hard things. So who am I? I'm Hailey. I am a happily married-ish mom of 3 boys. We are very happily married, but we do have a challenging set of circumstances. I am so grateful for my husband. He is my rock and my best friend. I love all 3 of our boys. And when I'm not working, you will find me hiking, you'll find me kayaking, you'll find me in nature, or cuddling with all of my boys. When I am working, I am those 3 things on the slide. I work as your true happiness coach, and that means supporting you with the things that get in the way of happiness: depression, addiction, anxiety, trauma, grief, transition, and all the things that affect you looking in the mirror and not thinking that you're enough. Whether it's your mindset, whether it's your body image, your confidence, working on all of those things so you can bring back joy to your life. The second title up there says the Happy Business Coach, and that's where I love to help you connect your self-worth to your net worth and get your words right. So if you want to do a workshop, you know what to talk about. If you're networking and people say, "Hey Marlene, what do?" You'll be able to say the message and they'll want to spend more time with you. Or if you're giving away a consultation, they'll want to buy that next level service because they so enjoyed and got value from their time with you. So I'm not the social media trainer. There are fabulous people in the room for that. I am not the systems and structure and strategy person. There are amazing people in the room for that. But if your confidence is in the way of you growing your business, you can talk to me. And my very favorite one of those 3 is the last one, and that's the marriage mentor. I love to help couples fall in love with each other again. And when there's been infidelity, when there's been trauma, when there's mental health challenges, I especially love to help put couples back together when it's safe. And it's not safe for every couple to stay together. But when it's safe, I love to get in and show couples how to find their way back to one another. If you're single and you love being single, awesome. But if you're single and ready to mingle, I love showing you how to call great love back into your life. But we're not going to talk about those things. Let's get into planning your year. I want to help you finish this year strong by planning your start for next year. And I believe that one of the greatest acts of leadership is for each of you to first try the thing, fall, fail at the thing, however many times it takes. Get back up, and when you're standing tall, to go back and decode your process and then go share it and teach it to as many other people as possible. That is why every single one of us does what we do for a living or does what we do for our purpose, because we were on the client side one time, and then we figured it out. Now we know what our clients feel like. So we want to light up your mission. I thought I'd throw this slide in because you probably don't know. You might not know unless we're really close friends. I am very fortunate to be a walking person, usually 3 weeks out of the month. And I have a bone condition in my right leg, and sometimes you'll find me in my shiny blue chair. I'm just showing you this so that if we bump into each other and I'm that way, you don't have to look shocked, but also so that you don't forget to look past smiles on people. Smiles can be deceiving and lead you to think that this person has a great life, not because they know systems or have a structure, they're just one of the lucky ones. No, it's on purpose, and it can be on purpose for you too. My loves, my babes, my people, some books. You're going to get this one for free. So because you are here today at this incredible conference, because you're celebrating these authors, I will give each of you a free digital copy of Happy Love. So in case you're in a relationship or you know somebody that is, you'll have a chance to get the amazing techniques in that book, the 5 steps to heal a relationship, and the 6 skills of happy couples. But let's get into our planning. There are 12 parts of you that affect your happiness. There are 16 parts of a relationship that affect its happiness. And there's over 50 pieces of a business that affect its strength, solidity, and success. So that's a little bit more than a New Year's resolution about your bank account and your waistline. Would you agree? Yes? Now, when we're planning our goals for the year, the first problem that we have is we're using the word goals in the first place. So I want you to decide what you like better, and just shout it out. Do you like goals better or promises? Which one?
Promises.
Promises. Tracy likes promises. Who likes goals? Who likes promises better? Yay, Tracy. So I want you to imagine that you are standing at your best friend's wedding. You're in Jamaica. It's beautiful. The water's warm. The air is nice and breezy. And your very best friend is about to get married to their soulmate, and they waited a long time to find this person. And they're standing there with their flowers in this beautiful situation, and the person who's marrying them says, repeat after me, "It's my goal to be faithful to you." And your best friend says, "It's my promise to be faithful to you." Are you hearing the difference between goal and promise? When my husband renews his vows to me, if he says, "It's my goal to be faithful to you," he's going to need to start running. Part of why we don't fulfill on our goals is because the meaning of the word goal is already an option not to fulfill. So if you take nothing away from my talk other than this one thing, from now on, I invite you, actually I double dare you, every time you say the word goal, I want you to edit it and come up with which part of that statement can you promise for. I have a goal to make $150,000. Great. Who cares? What can you promise for? You can promise for how many hours each morning you will prepare for your day. You can promise for how many prospects you will reach out to with love and intention. You can promise for how many networking events you will attend each month and that you'll be prepared in a good mood and mindset, bring material, and know what you're going to say. You can promise for how many workshops you will offer. But when we set goals, part of them we don't have control over. And from now on, when you make a goal, it's up there with wish, would be nice, if it happens, great, if it doesn't, no big deal. If you start promising your New Year's resolutions, if you start promising for your annual planning, it really changes the conversation. Because the first thing you're going to do is push back with yourself and say, well, maybe not. Maybe I was being too lofty on that one. I'm just going to end up disappointed. Maybe I wasn't asking enough of myself. I could do better than this. And when we promise, we also promise for the steps of what it's going to take, so it helps us get really real with our goals. So just to check in, from now on, who'd like to ditch goals and try promising instead? Amazing. If I leave now and you just do that one thing, I'd really be excited to hear what changes for you, because things will change. Let's keep going. So I'm not going to go through them, because when I do this as a 4.5-hour class, you would actually rate every area that affects your happiness, your health, your body, your finances, your mental health, your relationships, your purpose, your growth, your career, your home life, all of the things. You would actually rate them. You'd also come up with a vision for all 12 of those areas behind me. Instead of looking at how is it now, you'd also explore how would you rather it be. And then we'd start talking about how we're going to get you there. We would do the same thing for your relationship. You get a chance, if you're in a relationship and you want to set some goals, edit them out into promises for this year, you'd have a chance to work through all these things: appreciation, trust, respect, values, division of labor, communication, intimacy, and rate every single one, and then decide how you would rather it be and come up with some goals for the year, and then figure out which of those you want to turn into promises. See, some couples have a goal of having more quality time together. My husband and I have a promise of spending 3 hours every Monday together, plus 8:30 to 10 every evening together, plus more. Promises and goals are very different, yes? Yes. So friends, in case we don't get to spend more time together, and that is not my hope, but in case we don't get to spend more time together, I want to share with you 5 questions so you can be your own coach. Who would like to be their own coach? It's free, by the way. I'm not free, but this is free. I want you to call to mind right now a part of your life that you're pissed off about. It is not going the way you want it to. No matter how spiritual or religious or grateful you are, the rational part of your brain knows you're a little bit disappointed with this area of your life. It could be your health. It could be about a relationship. It could be about your money. It doesn't matter. I want you to think about that area that's bugging you. And these are the 5 questions that you can explore on your own time. Because I love you, I'm even going to share the slides with you. So here's question 1. How's it now? This is your one and only chance to be a victim, to vent, to rant, to complain, and to not try to be over it yet. So you're allowed to lay on all the gravy and say, it sucks because of this, it pains me because of this, it's frustrating here, it doesn't work this way. Get all the ugh out of your system, okay? Question 2, we have to step into a different energy. How would you rather it be? So for that area of your life that you called to mind that's bugging you, this is where we turn on the mind movie and the dream or the fantasy. This is where we start to create the vision of what do you want instead of the ugh. Question 3, we start to figure it out. You're intelligent, you have a lifetime of wisdom with you, and you have good people in your corner. What can be done about it? I trust that you already know some things you haven't started trying or taking action on that might work. So you start to make a list. And if you ever get to question 3 and you say, Hailey, I've got nothing, I actually want you to text me on my personal cell phone, so we'll help you get unstuck. But I trust each of you, you're wise, you'll have some things that go on the list. Number 4, what are you willing to do about it? Out of all the possible things you could do to increase your energy, have a passive income stream, have more connection with your partner, or get to bed earlier at night, whatever your area was, what are you willing to do about it? And the only question that really matters is number 5. What will you do about it in the next 24 hours, and who will you be about it? Let me explain that last part. I once had a goal of getting the 3 kids who slept in our bed to sleep in their own bed. Can anybody relate to that? Okay. Deanna's like, I remember those days. So my husband and I had a goal to claim back our king-size bed. And we knew all the ways it wasn't working. We knew what we would rather. So our vision was we wanted to go into our kids' rooms separately, cuddle with them, read them a story, kiss them goodnight, and have them be awake when they say, I love you too, Mommy, good night. Because we were the parents that stayed all the way until they fell asleep, and we still do. So what were we willing to do about it? We weren't willing to do the cry it out method. We weren't willing to lock the door and run to Jamaica. We weren't willing, there was a lot of things we weren't willing to do. But the one thing we were willing to do was hire a sleep coach that had a very loving and attachment-based method. And the very first step, what did we do about it in 24 hours? I texted her, and I asked if she would help us. So no matter how big your problem is right now, whatever area of your life you're frustrated about, it's most important that you figure out how do you want it to be instead. And if you don't know what to do about it, text me and I'll connect you with the great myriad of experts in this room. But you probably know what to do about it. You just haven't whittled down to the list to which one you're going to take action on. And even if you have, you might not have whittled it down to what's the very first action you're going to take today. And even if you took action, you might not have understood state of being. Whenever we want to put good change in our lives, it requires something. Maybe your state of being is brave. Maybe it's unmessable with. Maybe it is vulnerable. Maybe it is a state of surrender and acceptance. Maybe it's forgiving. Maybe your state of being needs to be assertive, committed. If you want to start a training program tomorrow or a healing program tomorrow, maybe the state is willing. And so if from now on you learn one thing from me today, and that is goals are weak, promises are stronger. Did we get that one? Yes? Yeah? The second thing I encourage you to learn from me today is that actions are great, but actions married to a state of being are much more powerful. And when you want to create change for yourself, figuring out the action is good, but it's not enough. If you choose for yourself, who do you need to be to fulfill on this change, you're going to go a lot further. Now, friends, if we were spending a whole day together and doing the whole big workshop, we would actually write out 6 goals for your year. Part of why I want to share these slides with you is I take responsibility that this is tempting and we don't have time. And so I'm going to share with you what the 6 categories are. And when you get the slides, feel free to do it for yourself. These are the 6 themes of goals that I set every, not year, month. I set these 6 themes of goals every single month. And that is why I live my life on purpose. Because if I let my life just guide me based on what's happening, I'd be way off in the wayside, if you know what I mean. So the acronym is SCUBA. It's really bad. It's all I could come up with. I do like water, but I snorkel. I don't scuba dive. And here are the 6 themes, just in case you're taking fast notes and you want to have an awesome year. S stands for self. Self-care, self-love, self-celebration. I don't just mean bubble baths, though. Here's the thing. If you are already someone that eats healthy, check. Drinks Kangen water, check. Exercises, check. And meditates, that's no longer self-care. That is like taking your car for oil changes when the light goes on. That's now maintenance. That's not new for you. So I want you to go up a notch in how you are loving to yourself this year. Whatever you already do that works, keep doing. Maybe what you don't do enough is stop and celebrate. Clover said it beautifully in her speech. She said, quote, "I didn't know how far I came until I paused and reflected and looked back on my journey." She could have missed that moment to be proud of herself. She could have felt like most of us, didn't do enough yet, got to keep pushing, don't stop yet, haven't gone far enough, don't take a trip yet, more work to get done, the to-do list is still, all that stuff. So this year, be better to you, because I have never seen more mental health crisis in the minds and bodies of people that were strong 2.5 years ago. Not to mention the half of our Ontario population that was already struggling before the pandemic. I've never seen a time where we need to take care of self more than ever. And friends, I'll tell you, this is gonna sound silly. I used to fly about 15 times a year. My husband and I love to travel, and I've spoken in many different places. And every time the flight crew would say, "Put your own oxygen mask on first," I was the prick going, "Are you kidding? I have a breastfeeding baby on my lap. What kind of mother would I be not to put the mask on the baby? Of course I'm gonna put the mask on the baby first. Who do you think I am?" And for years, every time they would do the oxygen mask, who knows what I'm talking about when they say put your own mask on first? Okay. It didn't hit me until I was breastfeeding my third son. We were on a flight. I was with my husband. He was like 3 weeks old, and then it landed for me. Oh crap. If I put the mask on him and he lives, but he doesn't have me, who's gonna offer him this service? Maybe I'll put my own mask on first, and 5 seconds later I'll put it on him because he needs his strong mama. And it's such an analogy for how we live our lives, friends. You've got to put your mask on first, not because you're selfish. You need to be self-full, overflowing, enough to give, solid to stand, because if we don't have enough to give and we're empty, then we need to take. And if you are somebody that is committed to giving, you've got to stay full and overflowing. It is the only way we can keep on giving to the people we care about. And so that's why the first goal is self. The second one, the C, is for connection. We all deserve oxytocin in our lives. Oxytocin is that loving hormone. You can access it by cuddling a baby, stroking a puppy, making love to your partner, feeling close and connected. But we all deserve to have that feeling, and I encourage you to have a connection goal in your life. It doesn't need to be with a significant other. It could be your platonic relationship, your sisterhood, brotherhood, friend, community, and village around you. It could be your self-love relationship. It could be with your parents, your kids, a charitable organization. But if you have a special someone in your life, then yeah, I want you to set a goal and promises about that relationship. And to stop thinking it'll just keep being there for another 5 or 10 years in the state that it's in right now without it getting a tune-up. Because we wouldn't just drive our cars through several winters and not care enough to put on snow tires, and not check when the engine light goes on, and not stop every once in a while and make sure the fluids are good. And so in our relationships, if you're in one, please put it on your priority list this year. The U stands for unclutter, clean up, fix, heal. You got to get out of the mess in your life. The second U stands for up level. Just like Clover ditched shyness to go into, and instead of introvert became an outspoken extrovert on media, I want you to decide for yourself to make 2023 your best year ever. How are you going to be different on December 31st of next year? Are you going to wake up at a different time? Show up earlier to things? Are you going to do more pleases and thank yous? Are you going to be more intentional about the things you say yes to or no to? Whatever that is, choose a way for you to up level. And the reason why there's an unclutter goal on there is that the more mess around you, the less abundance can find you. Thank you. B is for breakthrough, so a new way of being. And the final one is A, abundance. Yes, it's okay, you can set a money goal. You can do the regular goals too. I just want you to have a holistically awesome year. So imagine if every month you were honoring yourself, your love life, the messes in your life, looking for a way that you could up-level or break through, and honoring your money. What kind of growth could you have 12 months from now? You would be living a very different life at the end of next year. And none of these are the goals that are so big they scare you, they make you want to throw up. But it's okay to have a couple stretch goals in the year. For the sake of your mental health, I'm not asking you to play it small or shrink. When I say pick realistic goals, I want you to know the feeling of being proud of yourself. And I want you to also know the feeling of stretch, but just a little, not too much. Until you get some wins under your belt, most of us only set stretch goals. And many of us never fulfill on them. And every year that comes around, we have less confidence and trust in ourselves that we can do big things or do hard things, and eventually the topic of goals comes up and our stomach hurts. I want you to have the opposite kind of year, where you make plans that you really get lit up about. So we're not going to go through everything in detail, but really quickly, this matches the last slide. When people say, Hailey, how do you have a happy marriage, still smile, do all that stuff, and live with Bennett, and do some of the other hard things, it's the order. If you show me your agenda book or your Google Calendar, I know the quality of your life. Your life is your schedule. It's that simple. What you put on your schedule, if all you do is carpool and go to events or have friendships that you don't really get lit up by, and go to a job you don't like and work with clients that isn't a good fit, your schedule is your life. So how about we schedule your life in a radically different order? The first thing to put on your calendar is you. Block out the time where you take care of yourself. And I mean everything from your toilet time, as we've already talked about today, to your workouts, your food, your mindfulness, your rest. Put you on the calendar first. The second thing is your love life. If you have one, put it on your calendar or you might not get to keep it. If you don't have one, put time on it to find one. And if you want to have a self-love or platonic love relationship, block time off work to do that. Number 3, joy. You'll notice work hasn't even shown up yet. Put things on your calendar that light you up every single day. As human beings, we are carrot-minded. I'll explain. We go to work to get the paycheck. We get the paycheck to pay the bills. We pay the bills to keep the house. We have the house so we'll be warm. We like to know why we do things. We are carrot-minded. And as somebody, myself, that overcame 8 years of depression from the age of 8 to 16, 2 suicide attempts at 16, a violent rape at knife point at 17, and a whole lot of trauma, when someone says, Hailey, how? How did you overcome depression without medication? How have you been without depression for over 25 years? My answer is, every night I choose what carrot I get tomorrow. What is that thing I can look forward to in the first half of the day? Why is it good to get up? Who am I going to serve? Who am I going to help? Which kiddo am I cuddling with? And by midday, if my energy's starting to go down, I remind myself what carrot I'm having this evening. Am I going to take my kids on a hike? Am I going to have a really nice bubble bath? Are my husband and I going to have a heart-to-heart? And what carrot that's a little bigger is there for the weekend and the end of the month and the quarter and the year? And part of my mental wellness strategy is to live from carrot to carrot. So there's always things worth it. But we can't be passive, friends. We can't wait for good things to show up. We can put the carrots in, put them in your calendar, as if you matter, because you do. And if you or someone you love is struggling with any emotional well-being challenge, the first thing I'd want to do with you and them is make a joy calendar. Often when we look at our schedule, it's obligations, it's our roles, it's our duties, and I need to take out a magnifying glass to find the stuff you'd be excited about. Well, no wonder you feel like crap. If you want to turn your life around, a very simple strategy, this is the third thing if you learn only 3 things from me today, start scheduling things in your calendar for joy. Then plan your work, and I mean hard stop. That includes social media, responding to messages, scrolling, getting lost in other people's feeds. If you work 40 hours a week, I'm going to show you a scary slide in a moment, and only 40 hours, your life is very different than if you work 60 or 80, and all the time you spend online counts as work. Lastly, friends, you need to schedule in white space. White space isn't nothing. It's protected time, so that if you got a migraine today, you can move today's commitments to tomorrow. If you feel like you need a rest, or you got bad news at the doctor and you need to be with that for a while, you can move your commitments to another place. If you plan your schedule so tight and there's no white space and there's traffic, what happens? You're screwed. You don't have any place to move those things. And week after week, they just snowball, and we hit cognitive overwhelm, we hit mental health burnouts, and things start to go down from there. Just nod if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So we want to start scheduling a little looser. And lastly, friends, is your chores, the admin of your life. And here's the good news. If you have no time left on your calendar for all that stuff, you don't need my permission, but I officially I bestow on you permission, hire out. If somebody else loves it more, does it better, and charges less than what you can make in an hour, why are you still doing it? Like, there are some people that are really good at making freezer meals and folding laundry and cleaning homes. There's even driving services. And so I want you to plan your life in a radically different way. We get 168 hours in a week. I get the same, you get the same. And I also only get 30 minutes for this talk, and that is my buzzer. So I'm going to bring this home for you. When you get the slides, you're going to see there's a calendar. The reason for that is I want you to print out 2 copies. I want you to plot your life right now, look at it, and go, huh? And then I want you to plot the life you're going to plan for next year instead. Because how you give away your days, how you give away your weeks, this is simply going to be your year. It will be the quality of your life, so be intentional. We do have just 168 hours in a week, and after you do all the regular stuff, like eating, getting ready, working, sleeping, spending a little time here and there, those 168 get used up so quickly. And so I'm going to fast forward to right here. I'm going to ask you to repeat this after me. I promise, when I wake up tomorrow, to do the things, and to be the ways that create my incredible life. Don't wake up tomorrow and go to the same drive-thru, miss the same workout, not call the same prospect, fight the same way with the people you care about, ignore the priorities that are staring at you, and expect to have a different year next year. You each get so much say over how next year goes, but you're going to have to roll up your sleeves. You have to start creating promises, and I would like to help you to do that. Perfect is never the goal, just progress. And if you want to hang out and spend a little bit more time together, I'm going to give you all of the content from the 5 books that I've been in for free as an act of love, in case one of those stories is what you needed to hear. I will share with you the slides. I will share with you some of the worksheets I mentioned, because I know half an hour is very fast. And all I need you to do is take a picture of this slide and text best year ever to my cell phone. And later tonight when I get home, you'll get that information because I want to share goodness with you. So people say, how come you put your cell phone out? And that's because I really limit my time online and social media and with email. But if you text me, I'll actually see it and write you back. Not my awesome assistant, but I will personally write you back. And lastly, friends, I'm inviting you to spend a little bit more time together. On Tuesday, January 17th, 2 weeks into the new year, already having started, when your goals will either be on track or off track, let's spend those 4.5 hours together for real. Let's come in cozy clothes on Zoom. You can wear whatever you want on the bottom. Let's come with your real calendars. Let's actually go slowly through this material, where you really write your goals. We really break them down, work them backwards, write them in your calendars, and let's make the actual plan, not just the talk. Let's make the plan for you to have your best year ever. The amazing ladies at the back of the room have the information. It's just $97, and today I'm covering the tax for you. And also, when you buy a ticket, you bring someone you love for free. I'm not going to do 30 sales slides. If you want to hang out for 4.5 hours for under $100 and plan an incredible year, you can find those ladies at the back, or you can come see this wonderful, amazing Humber College student named Cynthia at my table over there.